EduTech Guys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida on Wednesday, January 24th, 2018. Enjoy the program.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Sylvia Martinez. I'm here at FETC talking about the maker movement and wearable technologies and STEAM and design and engineering and how to make all of that happen in classrooms.
Awesome. Man, that's cool.
Yeah, you're doing several sessions. You're a busy woman.
I am a busy woman. I did 2 workshops today, so my throat is a little dry, but well, we got the water. We're going to make it through that.
Awesome.
I think you guys have probably talked
We've been going now for I can give you exact time 7 hours 11 minutes and 26
okay,
seconds.
You beat me. You way beat me.
That's okay.
But 8 a.m. this morning, there were teachers like sewing circuits and talking about like how microcontrollers can be integrated into classrooms.
I love all that and what it's created entrepreneurially in the ed tech industry. A group called Birdbrain. They do some really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Birdbrain has a hummingbird robotics kit that is one of my favorite materials to use in our workshops.
Yeah.
It is, they know what they're doing. They've built something that just works, which is what you need in the classroom. You can't be fussing around with things that don't work. They are dedicated to helping teachers have great experiences with physical computing.
Yeah.
That intersection of digital and the real world.
Yeah. Allison came by and just impressive in herself. She really knows what she's talking about and real excited about what they're doing. So that's a plus automatically.
Automatically.
Yeah.
That was a project out of Carnegie Mellon University.
Oh, cool.
And it's now they've built a business, and it's one of those great examples of people who really care about kids and teachers and making good things happen in classrooms.
That's
so awesome.
I want to get back to what you were talking about when you first were talking about. No, it's okay. When you're first talking about the things, you're talking about teachers who are sewing LEDs and the myriad of other things that you said they were doing. I'm blown away. I'm like, they're doing all this stuff.
So many words.
Think, and what really amazes me is look at where we are today in terms of what it means for a teacher to come to a conference like this and attend a session like what you hosted. That 10 years ago you wouldn't have thought of, certainly not 20, 25 years ago, would you be coming to a conference and sewing LED strips into, come on, how awesome is that?
Unless you were a home ec teacher.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I think all of this stuff is reintegrating the real world, real practice into all kinds of different lessons. I love the digital technology.
Yeah.
That's tons of fun. But when you can extend it to the real world, I think you create opportunities for even more connections.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree.
Oh,
so, your sessions, give us a summary. I know you're doing a lot. Pick your top 3.
So today I did a 2-hour workshop called STEAM You Can Wear, which was all about wearable computing.
That's cool.
The second workshop was called PBL Gets a Makeover. So it's about all the good things we know that work in project-based learning. Kids having deep experiences with topics they care about, adding the maker movement stuff where you can have the real tools, real research, and bring a whole new aspect of STEM to PBL and how those all mesh together. Tomorrow, I'm talking about, they're shorter sessions, they're not hands-on. So one is about design and how design is really a way of thinking. It's a way to make these subjects come alive. So when you say STEAM, it's not that the art is just decoration. It's not a thing that you do on top of science and math. The art is really about design. So it's really a D, but that doesn't make a nice word.
Right, doesn't make a nice acronym.
So it's really the verb of how you bring all these things together and really look at technology as a way to make your ideas come to life.
Yeah. Man, that's...
So there was one I was going to ask. You're doing a Meet the Author.
Yes, I am.
New book?
Almost. We're this close to a new book. I do have a new book coming out by other authors. So in the time when we wrote Invent to Learn, we've now published 9 books by other teachers who write about what they're doing in the classroom.
Cool.
So give them a voice, give other teachers a way to look at these models and say, I can do that.
Right.
Yes.
So there's a brand new book coming out called The Invent to Learn Guide to More Fun. If you can imagine, there was an Invent to Learn Guide to Fun.
That's right.
Now we have the Invent to Learn Guide to More Fun, where this incredibly inventive teacher named Josh Berker has come up with 16 brand new projects that involve sewing, programmable sewing projects, lighting up clothes, using makey-makeys to make all sorts of fun instruments and other some other great inventions.
That's really cool.
So that's like a week away from being
That's really
available.
cool.
And isn't it amazing how much Invent to Learn has grown? I mean, that is so cool.
It is amazing. I mean, I'm still humbled and amazed that anyone's read the book, and people are like, oh my God, we structured our entire Makerspace program after Invent to Learn.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it's like, wow, you guys did all the work. I didn't. We just kind of wrote down these ideas, and I think for a lot of people, it sparked this idea that we were separating things that shouldn't be separated.
Yeah.
Right.
And the head, the heart, and the hands all go together, and we know that, right? But here were all these new materials that gave you new ways to stitch those things back together,
Right.
and really make science come to life, and make the T and the E in STEM actually happen.
Yeah.
Instead
Yes,
of,
yes.
it's like the big S, the little T, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And in the years since, Gary and I have been all over the world.
Yeah.
He's in London right now and going to Zurich to do workshops. I just got back from Hong Kong, talking to schools from Vietnam, Malaysia, China, all wanting to do right by kids.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And this is the generation, we can say what we want to say, but these kids are hungry. And these are the ones, and we've hit that point, maybe it started in the 60s, but we talk about the head and the heart and the hands. We've hit it finally. Maybe we've come to that point in our development as a race, as a human race, to where we're getting to the point where these kids want to put that into. That's why we're seeing things like this. We're seeing kids that are not afraid to become entrepreneurs, that are not afraid to fail and to try again and to take it back to, I always think of makey as a lot like Etsy. Think of all the people making and doing online and making a living and are happy, but the philanthropy is massive.
This is a time in history where people can own their own problems and their own solutions.
Right.
And share them with others.
Yes.
I mean, you have a community that has no jobs. Who are you going to wait for the government? Are you going to wait for a university? Going to wait for somebody to give it to you? No, you can make these jobs yourselves. You can teach people how to fix bicycles and then give them to people who need them, and you're training people. You're
Right.
giving them job skills. Kids are growing up in this world where their ideas are valuable.
Yes.
Right? And there's a place to express your ideas. YouTube, Instructables, every place kids look, somebody's saying, we want to know what you're thinking.
Right.
Right? So how can school not be into that? I mean, there's a lot of kids who are doing things outside of school, building robots and, making cars and writing novels, and they don't even bother telling anyone at school because they don't think anyone cares.
That's
Right.
right.
Schools, there's a lot of schools are just wrapped up in, okay, today is Tuesday, we're on
Well,
chapter 13.
We got to take a
we'll all
test
do it,
next
we gotta
week, and
take
then
a
the next
test,
week we got to take a
Right.
test, and I don't have time for your stuff. We've got to teach the test. So
That's right.
And that's where, that's where the schools that are successful in implementing the things that you're talking about, and it goes back to one of the key things that we throw out. It's got to be relevant to them. It's got to matter to them. But it's also the school environment. The students have to feel like they also matter to that particular environment. So you have, like you said, you have students who are doing things outside of school, and they're not sharing it with anybody in school because to them, school is not relevant to what I do outside. I mean, I can't tell how many students I talk to. My daughter's in 10th grade, and she's like, yeah, we go to school. Now, not all the time. She has certain classes, which that's also a weird dynamic where you have certain classes and certain teachers within the school structure who are gung-ho, all for it. Let's do the maker thing, or let's do
pushing the envelope.
Pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
Let's do some problem-based solving where you are going to develop the problem because you're the one going to be solve it. And then you have these other teachers who are the old school sage on the stage and what I say goes. And that's what she's really struggling in those classes where it's the old school quote unquote traditional education model. And that's one of the things that she says to me. She's like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't understand why. Why am I doing this? Why do I have to learn? Why am I learning what the formula is and how to apply it for the gravitational force between two objects to keep them in orbit? That's a problem we were just working on the other day.
Last night, yeah.
And I told her, I said, I said, honey, I'm really sorry, but
Sound effects.
I don't know what the relevance is because the teacher hasn't told us what the relevance is. To the overall scheme of things. So I think that's where students, if they see those teachers who are out there sewing LED strips into a piece of clothing for a purpose, and then bringing that back to the classroom and saying, hey, look what we did, look what I got to do, and here's what I learned about doing that. Let's get all these pieces and parts, or what pieces and parts do you think you need to solve whatever this wearable problem is?
I think there's lots of kids who work really hard at things that don't really matter to them because we ask them to.
Right.
I think, imagine if they were working at things they really cared about. And like Sir Ken showed a video of kids who were working on a car that was going in a race, and it's like, it's not that the car is important. It's not that I think that robots are going to change education or 3D printers. It's adults, it's people coming together who care about each other, who share ideas, who trust each other, who can look each other in the eye and say, we're going to do this thing even if we don't even know exactly how. And it doesn't matter if it's underwater vehicles or hot air ballooning or studying whales or surveying native species in a local pond. Kids get excited about passion, about changing the world, and then they learn how their capacity, what their capacity is to make that happen.
Right.
So, I love the maker stuff, but I really think it's about rekindling teachers' passions to connect with students, having a wide variety of stuff for students to do, from photography to programming to sewing with or without electronics, theater, art, music, all of these things that make life worthwhile. We need to figure out how to do more of in schools.
I agree,
Yeah,
110%.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
man.
Glad we're all in agreement.
So,
That's right. That's right.
Thank you. Good for us.
That's
I'm
right.
patting
Pat
myself
ourselves on the back. We all
Exactly.
agree. Here, here.
so
Dilly.
here at FETC, what are you looking for?
So,
Because you come for a reason besides doing sessions.
yes. So, I think that this conference really does live up to its name. They're thinking about the future of education. There's a lot of vendors here who are trying out new things. There's a lot of people who are here sharing their passions and sharing what they've done in real classrooms. I think there's a really great balance of people, coming from all over the country, doing things that are tried and true, adding technology to it and trying to figure it out. So I think, there's enthusiasm, there's passion, there's a good program, there's, exciting keynotes and new vendors. There's a bunch of new vendors here I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's interesting, and I'm not sure about this. And there's new, something new to look at.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We always talk about, we always have a theme for every day that builds itself. Today's theme has been assistive technologies.
Oh, interesting.
And what's interesting about that is we're talking about the humanity of it and the equity of everything that's happening. And tech's finally caught up. And that's, we're talking about finding what kids, we're at a point now where certain members of our society who are trapped with a disability of whatever kind are now not as trapped as they have been in the past. And they can now stay at home and make music or write a blog or do accounting or whatever they need to do, because we're reaching the point and we're actually addressing that in the classroom now. And the other interesting, beautiful part of it is that the equity of it and the cohesiveness that's being created in a classroom now is that, that's not that student or students that sit over here on this side of the classroom. They're now part of the herd. And they're being accepted, and the humanity of it is glorious.
I think you're absolutely right. If you look at the maker movement, like what's on the horizon of the maker movement, you can hack biological organisms, you can reprogram cells. The chemistry is a huge component. If you go to any of the maker spaces, they're all experimenting with plants that glow in the dark and tattoos that read your skin and prosthetic devices, and not just replacing broken things, but actually adding to what humans can do. I have a video of a thumb that someone made, because if an opposable thumb is good, why not have two of them? So they built a second opposable thumb and they strapped it on, and it works with microcontrollers and feedback and everything. So what can you do with a second opposable thumb?
You could game like crazy.
Right. You can
you're right.
You can play the guitar.
I'm an upright bass player, so when I play in thumb position, I'm actually gaining. Well, that's pretty interesting. I mean, to think about the stuff you can do piano-wise or anything. Yeah.
Right.
Arts.
Right.
I mean,
there's so much that's going on, and the kids who are in school today are going to invent things that we haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah.
So why not give them these tools now and say, let's have your best ideas, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we're going to wrap up.
It's that time.
It's that
It
time.
is. Oh,
We're gonna hit the exhibit floor next, because we like to kind of see what's going down. So you say there's new stuff. So
there's new stuff.
We'll go
There's
find out about it.
Companies, branching into old companies, branching into new things.
Yeah.
All of the above.
That's right. Well, I'm so glad that you came and joined us again this year, because I was so excited when I saw your name on the list. I was like, yes, she's coming back to talk to us. That is
yes,
so cool.
I had such a good time last year. Here I am again.
Thank you.
We'll have to catch up with you during the year and get you on one of our regular shows.
Yes.
We'd love to spend a whole show with you. So
Absolutely love to do that.
We'll
anytime.
definitely do that. So if our listeners want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do it?
So my website is sylviamartinez.com. All my name all together. And I have a blog, I have resources. People are always asking me, where's your slides? That's where they are.
Yeah.
And of course, if they've read the book Invent to Learn, there's a website for the book too. So inventtolearn.com is where all the resources for that book lives.
Okay.
The last thing I would love to mention is we have a summer institute called Constructing Modern Knowledge. This is going to be our 11th year. So we were making before making was cool. It's for creative educators who really want to explore the idea about projects. It's 4 days of time for teachers to take off their teacher hat, put on their learner hat, and just play with all this new technology and really dive deep in how this can happen. That's at constructingmodernknowledge.com.
Okay.
It's July 10th to 13th in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's an absolutely fantastic time. All your listeners should come. You guys should come.
Awesome.
Be fun.
That'd be very
cool. It would be fun.
It'd be a
Heck
hoot.
yeah.
We'll definitely reach out about that.
Okay.
Awesome.
You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTech Guys live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTech Guys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.